Hello, students. In our last lecture, we studied about particle nature of a wave. Now, today we are going to study topic number 11.8, wave nature of a matter. Matter means particle. Students, the French physicist de Broglie argued that if light, that is radiation, if light can sometimes behave like a particle, then it should be possible for even a particle, that is a matter, to exhibit wave-like behavior under suitable condition. Once again, according to de Broglie, he said that if a wave can behave as a particle, then even a particle should also behave as a wave. He argued that nature should be symmetric with respect to radiation and matter. That means nature will not discriminate among the wave and the particle. If wave can behave as a particle, then even particle can also behave as a wave under suitable condition. So this was the opinion of de Broglie. And so radiation and matter both show dual nature. That is, they can behave as a particle also and they can behave as a wave also. That means they have two types of nature. Two means dual. Now, de Broglie proposed that the wavelength lambda associated with a particle of momentum p is given by lambda is equal to h by p. That means he said that if a particle behaves like a wave, then it should have a wavelength. What de Broglie said? Even particle should behave as a wave. He was in that opinion. And so if the particle behaves as a wave, then it should have wavelength, and that wavelength is given by h upon p. Now what is p? P is a momentum, which is mass into velocity. So we get h upon mv, where m is the mass of the particle and v is the speed of that particle. Now students, this equation is known as de Broglie relation, and here this lambda is called de Broglie wavelength. So here this wavelength is related to the particle which behaves as a wave. So you can see here from this equation onwards, it shows that there are two types of nature. We know that any particle which is moving has a momentum, and lambda is associated with waves because any wave has its wavelength. So this relation has a term related to wave also, and a term, that is momentum, related to particle. Now students, I have written a note here that in equation number 1, that is in this equation, Planck's constant h relates both lambda as well as momentum p. You can see here in this relation h is constant. So we can say that lambda is proportional to 1 upon P. So here lambda and this P are related by what? H, because when we remove this proportionality sign, we will get lambda is equal to H by P, where H is constant. So this constant relates lambda and P both. So here lambda represents for wave and this momentum represents for particle. Hence, dual aspects of matter is evident in the de Broglie relation. Dual, here there is a printing mistake, it is dual. So dual aspects are seen. Dual means both wave nature and particle nature. Now consider an electron accelerated from rest, that is earlier it is stationary, initially it is stationary, and then it is accelerated by applying potential V. In that case, kinetic energy of the electron can be given by K is equal to EV, where E is the charge of an electron and V is the potential difference. Now we know that kinetic energy is half mv square, and so this can be written as p square by 2m. Look at carefully. We know that kinetic energy K is equal to half of mv square. Now students, if I multiply and divide by m in this equation, then what will happen? Our next step will be half as it is, m into m square, this v square as it is, and this m here. But what is mv? It is momentum p, so p square, so it is here. And what is remaining in the denominator 2m, so it is here. So this equation can be written in terms of momentum as this. Now make subject p square, so we'll get p square is equal to this 2m will come here, already k is there, so k into 2m, so p square is 2km. Now if we take square root on both the side, what will get? P equal to root of 2mk. Also, if we use kinetic energy for an electron as k is equal to ev, then in place of k we can write ev. So students, remember these equations. Now according to de Broglie wavelength, we know that lambda is equal to h by p. But what is p? P is equal to 2mk, so in place of p we can write 2mk. So we get lambda is equal to h upon 2mk, or in place of p we can put root of 2 mev. So if we put root of 2 mev, then we will get this equation. So students, these all equations are related to de Broglie. Now substituting the numerical values, we know that h is constant, for electron mass is constant, charge is constant. So if we put all this constant, then what will get? 1.227 nanometer, and V as it is in the root. Once again, in this equation We know that h is a Planck's constant, root of 2 me. Mass of electron, charge of electron, this is also constant. Let me write this separately, under root p. So these quantities are constant and their values are known to us. So if we'll put all these values, then we'll get 1.227 nano. And so finally we'll get lambda is equal to 1.227 under root v as it is nanometer. So students, this is a shortcut formula for electron. If the potential is given and if you want to find the wavelength for an electron, then simply we can use this formula, but remember this will be in nanometer. Now note, the matter waves associated with an electron could be verified by crystal diffraction experiments, which is similar to X-ray diffraction. Matter waves means the waves which are related to actual particle having masses. For example, stream of electrons. So they are matter waves. So that type of waves, they are diffracted by crystal diffraction experiments, and these matter waves, they are diffracted in a similar way as X-rays are diffracted. So we know that X-rays, they are actually waves, they are electromagnetic waves. So as X-rays are diffracted in a similar way, even electrons, stream of electrons can also be diffracted. So we can say that even these electrons, they behave as a wave. De Broglie was awarded the Nobel Prize for his discovery of wave nature of electron. That means de Broglie showed that even electron behaves as a wave in certain circumstances, and so the Nobel Prize is awarded to him. Now about Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg said that it is not possible to measure both the position and momentum of an electron or any other particle at the same time exactly. Position means x and momentum means p. So to measure both at the same time precisely, that is not possible. There is always some uncertainty in the specification of position, and some uncertainty is there in the specification of momentum. But the product of the uncertainty in the position and that in the momentum is h cut, where h cut is h upon 2 pi. This h is a Planck's constant. So we can say that delta x into delta p is nearly equal to h cut. So according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, this delta x into delta p is nearly equal to h upon 2 pi. According to this, if you are measuring the position precisely for an electron in a space, then you cannot measure its momentum. And if you are able to measure the momentum precisely, then you cannot measure its position. So simultaneously, both cannot be measured precisely. So there is some uncertainty in the position as well as in the momentum. Also, students, in another word, according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, if the uncertainty in the x coordinate of the position of a particle is delta x and uncertainty in the x component of its momentum is delta p, then delta x into delta p should be greater than or equal to h upon 2 pi. So students, actually in the formula there is greater than or equal to, but we generally take the approximately equal to sign for this. So it is clear that in this equation, if we take delta x is equal to 0, means if the position is certain, then its delta x must be 0. Then in that case, what will happen? Delta p will be infinite. And if the momentum is certain, then its delta p will be 0. In that case, delta x will become infinite. So simultaneously, both delta x and delta p cannot be measured certainly. So there is some uncertainty in delta x and delta p, that is in the position as well as in the momentum. So whenever there is a Heisenberg's uncertainty principle is there, then we have to use this formula only with equal to sign here. Now example number 11.4. What is the de Broglie wavelength associated with? First is, for an electron moving with the speed of 5.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second, and then for a ball of mass 150 gram traveling at the speed of 30 meter per second. So for this electron as well as for a ball, we want to find the wavelength associated to it. But which wavelength? De Broglie wavelength. Now students, for an electron, mass of electron is 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg, and its speed is given 5.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second, and we want to find the wavelength for this electron. Now whenever there is de Broglie wavelength, always lambda is h by p. P is momentum, so momentum p is equal to mass into velocity. So we got this equation. H is a Planck's constant. So students, for an electron, mass of electron is given, velocity of electron is given, and Planck's constant is known to us. So just put these values which are given and calculate it. You will get 0.135 into 10 raised to minus 9 meter. Now here 10 raised to minus 9 means it is nano. So we can write this as lambda for electron is equal to 0.135 nanometer. So de Broglie wavelength for an electron is obtained to be 0.135 nanometer. Now for a ball, once again we will use this formula only. So de Broglie wavelength for a ball is equal to h upon mv, mass of ball and speed of ball. They are given, just put that values. Mass is given 150 gram, but when we put the value we have to put that in kg. So we have multiplied here 10 raised to minus 3, because to convert gram to kilogram we have to multiply this 10 raised to minus 3. This is Planck's constant, and speed of the ball is given 30 meter per second. just calculate it. You will get de Broglie wavelength for a ball equal to 1.47 into 10 raised to minus 34 meter. Now students, just compare these two wavelengths for an electron and for a ball. You can see compared to this 10 raised to 9 power, here it is 10 raised to minus 34. This is quite small compared to this. So it is clear that de Broglie wavelength of electron is comparable with the wavelength of X-rays. Wavelength of X-ray is of the order of 10 raised to minus 9. But here this wavelength is very much small for a ball. And so de Broglie wavelength of a ball is beyond the experimental measurement, because we know that X-ray is having a high frequency and a very low wavelength, and this is quite low than even this, very much less than even for that of the X-ray, which is difficult to measure, or even we cannot expect this much small wavelength. So here that's why it is done that de Broglie wavelength of ball is beyond the experimental measurement. Now example number 11.5. An electron, an alpha particle and a proton have the same kinetic energy. Which of this particle has the shortest de Broglie wavelength? So students, it is clear that these three particles, they are having same kinetic energy, and we want to determine that which one will have the shortest or the smallest de Broglie wavelength. All these three are the particles. They are moving with some velocity. Their masses are different, but their kinetic energy is same. That is given. Now students, kinetic energy of all these three particles, that is electron, proton and alpha particle, is same. So I have written here that K is constant. Also we know that compared to proton, mass of electron is very much small. So Me is less than Mp. Also we know that alpha particle is the helium nucleus, and mass of alpha particle is 4 times that of mass of proton. So it is clear that mass of proton is less than mass of alpha particle. So I have written this thing that mass of electron is less than mass of proton, which is less than mass of alpha particle. Now we know that lambda is equal to h by p. De Broglie wavelength lambda is h by p. And what is p? We know that p is equal to root of 2mk. So just look here, where h is constant. Also kinetic energy is same for all, so we can say that k is also constant. So now we can remove this constant, so we can say that lambda is proportional to 1 upon root of m. 2 is a number, so that can be taken out as a constant, so only remain is m. So we can write that lambda is proportional to 1 upon root of m. So it is clear that these two are inversely proportional. So if mass is more, then lambda will be less. And so students, it is clear that maximum mass out of these three, maximum mass is that of alpha, and so its wavelength will be the smallest one. So we can write that wavelength of electron is greater than that of wavelength of proton, and that is greater than that of alpha particle. So alpha particle has the lowest or the shortest de Broglie wavelength. So simply you can compare from this relation. Now example number 11.6. Given that a particle is moving 3 times as fast as an electron, the ratio of the de Broglie wavelength of this particle to that of the electron is given. And here we want to calculate the mass of the particle, and from that we have to identify this particle also. So now students, given that velocity of a particle is 3 times that of the velocity of electron, so from that statement we get this equation. Let us give this equation number 1. Here this Vp is the speed of that particle and Ve is the speed of an electron. Also given that the ratio of this de Broglie wavelength for a particle and that of electron is 1.813 into 10 raised to minus 4. So this is also given. Let us give this equation number 2. Now we want to find the mass of this particle. Now students, we know that de Broglie wavelength lambda is equal to h by p, and p is mass into velocity. So I have written here lambda is equal to h upon mv. H is a Planck's constant. So if we remove that constant, then we can write this lambda is proportional to 1 upon mv. So from this proportionality sign, now we can write that lambda p upon lambda e is equal to meve upon mpve. You can see there is an inverse proportion. So here if it is for p, then here it is for p inverse. Here for e, then here there is for e. So relation should be like this, as here it is in inverse proportion. So lambda for p, so mass of p and vp will be here inverse. Wavelength of electron, so mass of electron and speed of electron is in inverse proportion. So it is clear that from this we can write this ratio. Now here simply make this subject this mass of electron and mass of particle, then we can bring this term towards this side. So bringing that term towards next side, we can write me upon mp is equal to lambda p upon lambda e into vp upon ve. Easily you can see here we have made the subject me upon mp here. Now you can see here just we have kept the values. Mass of electron, that is known to us, 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31. Then lambda p upon lambda e, that ratio we have 1.813 into 10 raised to minus 4. So this ratio is here, and vp upon ve, from this vp upon ve is 3. So I have written here 3. Only unknown is mp. So just make mp subject, bring this mp here and these two terms towards this side, and then calculate it. You will get mass of this particle equal to 1.675 into 10 raised to minus 27 kg, and this mass is nothing but is that of either proton or a neutron. This mass is quite near to that of the mass of proton or a neutron, so we can say that this particle must be either proton or a neutron. So students, after this simply you have to make subject MP and then you have to calculate it. So that is not difficult task. Now example number 11.7. What is the de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron accelerated through a potential difference of 100 volt? Now students, it is clear that de Broglie wavelength is given by h upon p, and this is a shortcut for an electron. If the particle is an electron and if it is accelerated by potential difference v, then directly we can use this formula in nanometer, that 1.227 upon root of v. So simply we have to put the value of given v. So here we have kept that value, and calculating this we will get this value in nanometer. So we will get lambda is equal to 0.123 nanometer. So the de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron in this case is of the order of X-ray wavelength. Now students, you can see here that we want to find the lambda for an electron given potential difference 100 volt. We have the formula lambda is equal to h upon root of 2 MeV. But here we know that for an electron its mass is given, E is also non-value, h is a Planck's constant, and 2 is a number. So if we put these values, then we'll get 1.227 nanometer. So this forms the shortcut, but this is only for electron. Now in this shortcut formula, simply put the value of V. V is 100 and root of 100 is 10. So simply 1.227 divided by 10. So we'll get 0.1227. If we round up this 7, then this number will become 3. So we get 0.123, but in nanometer.